Whether you're pregnant or postpartum, 20 years old or 70 years old, I'm gonna show you the exact exercise that my pelvic floor physical therapist gave me that finally put an end to the leaking pee every single time I had a cold. Every single time I sneezed or coughed or blew my nose, I'm showing you how to put it all to an end. Keep watching. Hey ladies, and welcome to the Strong Mom channel for all things fitness for moms in pregnancy, postpartum, and beyond, no matter how long ago you had your baby. So if you're a mom and you want to exercise and you want movements made for you, make sure to subscribe. In my personal training business, I specialize and work with primarily moms in pregnancy and in postpartum. And I find it's probably a rite of passage for us to experience at one point or another the pee leakage. It's actually called urinary incontinence. It's common, but it's not normal, and we can fix it. And no, we're not gonna fix it by just stopping drinking water, because that's actually gonna do nothing for you. So first things first, you should be seeing a pelvic floor physical therapist at least once a year, and she will check the integrity of the muscles that you have in your pelvic floor. So she's gonna make sure that they can contract and relax as they should, just like every other muscle in our body. She'll be able to determine if Kegels, what type of Kegels are right for you. If you wanna know more about how pelvic floor physical therapists can help you, then I highly recommend you check out this video here where we see a pelvic floor physical therapist and she tells us all about how she can help you. All right, so first things first, I don't want to assume that you know how to do a Kegel, because I know probably 99% of us will say we know how to do a Kegel, but the actual fact is that most of us haven't been taught how to do a Kegel appropriately and correctly. So I'm going to show you my pelvic floor model here. All right, this is what our pelvic floor looks like on the outside. We are looking at the anus here and the urethra and the vaginal opening. See, all the redness that you see around is our pelvic floor muscles. So that's what we are working and we're activating. Okay, oops. She's a little broken. I'm gonna show you the inside. I'm gonna take out the urethra, the bladder, and the rectum. And on the inside, all that red, all of this, you can see our pelvic floor muscles. And that's what we want to be activating and using when we do our Kegels properly. Okay, so back to the Kegels. I want you right here, urethra. I want you to squeeze that muscle. Stop imagining you're stopping the flow of pee. You are going to squeeze and you're going to lift up, up, up. I want you to visualize an elevator. So think elevator floor 1, 2, keep lifting, lifting, all the way up. Maybe you're to the 10th floor, maybe you're to the 5th floor, and then you're going to relax it all the way. That elevator is gonna come all the way down. So you're gonna relax your vaginal muscles all the way down to the basement parking garage. That's how I like to visualize that. We really need to release that pelvic floor just as much as we engage the pelvic floor. Okay, so here's where it gets a little bit more complicated. A lot of moms will think that because they experience urinary incontinence, that they must be really loose down there. It's actually could be the opposite. It could be that their pelvic floor muscles are actually too tight, and we call that hypertonic. I can speak from experience that my pelvic floor is a hypertonic pelvic floor. I will find myself sometimes sitting in the car and just frowning for no reason. And then I check in with my pelvic floor. What is my pelvic floor muscles doing? And a lot of times, 9 out of 10, I'm really tense down there as well. So I'm somebody that, yes, I need to work on my pelvic floor endurance, but I also need to work on relaxing my pelvic floor. It is as important as my endurance. I have no problems sneezing, coughing, blowing my nose on a regular daily basis. But then when it comes to cold, flu season, winter season, and I've got a cold and I am blowing my nose all the time, I am coughing a lot or sneezing, the pressure after 2, 3, 4, 5 days, that pressure is just pushing down on my pelvic floor, and my pelvic floor muscles just don't have the endurance to withstand all of that pressure, all of these days cumulatively. So this is where the endurance part comes in. Lifting up and squeezing and pulling up that elevator shaft. I work my way from 10 seconds up to 20 seconds. So really keeping that pelvic floor nice and tight and squeezing all the way up that elevator shaft, for 20 seconds. And I have to tell you, it was challenging at first. I could barely get to 8 seconds, but the more I did it and the more I did my homework and I practiced what my pelvic floor physiotherapist told me to do, I was able to get it to 20 seconds. And remember, I was letting the pelvic floor release as well. So those two things were really important for me. I did this for 10 repetitions, 3 times a day. It's not easy, and you might get bored, but trust me, you gotta do the homework if you want change to happen. Remember, every body is different, and your pelvic floor is different than my pelvic floor, which is why I always recommend to see a pelvic floor physical therapist for an assessment. For those of you who live in the United States, I highly recommend calling in advance to make sure that the physical therapist does an internal exam. A lot of them, I find with some of my past clients, they just don't. And I don't know why, so I wanna make sure that you are not wasting your money. Make sure you get an internal exam. Now, before we put this endurance exercise into practice, I wanna make sure that you guys have downloaded my Flat Belly After Baby ebook, 10 holistic ways to get a flatter belly after baby without surgery, without extreme exercise regimes, and without dieting. You can get that down below. Now, let's put these exercises into practice because I know you know what to do. I don't want you to leave without actually doing it. That is what counts, is actually putting it to practice and retraining your pelvic floor. I want you to take a lie down on the ground. You could even be in your bed while doing this. We're gonna do this in 3 different positions, okay? So, first things first. We're gonna inhale. On your exhale, I want you to lift, picking up that pelvic floor by the urethra. You can inhale while you're doing this. You can exhale. And then remember, dropping that pelvic floor, relaxing that pelvic floor all the way down. So you guys are gonna do this at your own pace. Remember, we are trying, I'm lifting as I'm talking, we are trying to get up to 10 seconds, maybe even to 20 seconds. Really trying to keep that squeeze and that lift all the way up and relax. Okay, let's go one more here on the floor. Ladies, I want you to put in the comments below, were you able to get up to 20 seconds? I know it's hard and it took me some time. So tell me where you are at the start of this. Okay, let's go into another position. We're gonna do a seated position. So let's find a nice sturdy chair where you're gonna sit and do this as well. So when you're seated, I want you to take the flesh from your butt so you're sitting on those sits bones. And from here, we're relaxed. Our back is nice and straight, and let's do that in this position. You might like to count your 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi to yourself. You also might want to have a stopwatch to count the seconds also. It's up to you. You might find that by the time you get to 10 or even higher seconds, it's just really weak of a squeeze. And that's a good thing to recognize because we want to still keep it strong as we are enduring that Kegel. So I know it's challenging, but the more that you practice, you will become stronger, you will feel that, and you'll be able to do it longer as well. Let's move on to our last position, which is standing. All right, so in standing position, we're doing the same thing. One thing we want to look out for is we want to make sure that our hips don't jut out like this, that we've got a straight line from this bone here, our greater trochanter, all the way down to our ankle, and then our ribs are not thrusted forward, they're not down here, our ribs are in line with our hip bones. We've got a nice optimal posture. And if you really want to make sure that you have that good optimal posture, one really great thing that you can do is come up to a wall, head to your wall, ribs on the wall, butts on the wall. My feet are about 1 inch, 2 inches away. And from here, I'm gonna peel myself away and walk, okay? So now, I know it feels kind of like a robot, but now I'm in my position and I can do my endurance Kegel holds here. So let's practice these together. You will notice that my hands kind of clinch into a fist. And I have a lot of clients that do this too. It helps them to lift and really help to pick up that pelvic floor. So you can try that as well. Okay, ladies, I want you to type in the comments below which position was the easiest for you to feel that lifting and that Kegel. For me, it was standing, actually, surprisingly. The hardest was laying on my back. I want to know what you guys think, so put that down below. So now you know how I avoid the urinary leakage every time a cold comes along. The trick is being prepared and doing these endurance Kegels before you actually get the cold. And now you know how to put it into practice for yourself. If you like this video, please make sure to show me some love, give it a thumbs up, and if you are new here, please make sure to hit subscribe. Comment below, say hello, and let me know where you're watching from. I always love to see where everybody around the world is watching from. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.